Okay, welcome to Stranded Deep. This is one of my favorite games. This is my favorite game, and I play it with my twin sister, and it's a game called Stranded Deep where you're on a deserted island from a plane crash. And there's nobody else around. So you have to learn to survive on this island. So we will continue to survive. I've set up some of the game already, but we're going to show you how to set up and keep surviving, and some of the tricks that I've learned in this game that make it a lot easier to survive because it monitors everything. This game monitors your health, which is the heart, your eating, which is that little symbol with the circle, the little teardrop is your water, and the SPF is your sun. And if you look up in the far right corner where it says none, that means that the SPF is low. But if it says high, you're going to get sunburn. Now the whole idea of this game is to keep healthy and stay alive. So you have to set up a couple of things, which I have done here. You have to set up a shelter first. And in another game, I will show you how to set up a shelter, because this is where you save your game. I've set up a loom. This is where you make cloth. This is a smoker. This is real handy. You learn to set up a campfire, and then you have this smoker. And this is where you take your fishing spear and you catch fish or crab, and then you can put it up here on the smoker on this little line right here, and you can smoke it. Now then, one of the main things you do, there's certain predecessors to this game that you have to do when you first get on the game. It's very important when you first get on the game to get water. That's the most important thing before you do anything. So you have to collect coconuts. Now you can see here where these trees have been cut. This is where I collected wood. And you don't want to cut down all your trees, but in this particular island, I have already cut down quite a few of the trees. And in the trees, you'll see are coconuts. And if I'm not mistaken, there should be some coconuts left here. So we'll go over here and see if there's any coconuts left in these trees. Oh no. Well, I have to say there's really no coconuts left. So we'll have to discuss that later, how to climb the tree. I actually could climb one for you. Let's see if I can climb a tree and show you how to climb them. And then we can work on picking the coconuts later. Okay, it'll say you hit X to climb the tree, and then you can go up the tree. And you take your toggles to do that, your left toggle. Now it's very, very important to go down, not to just jump off, or you could break your leg. So you have to take your left toggle and bring it down, because you can fall off these trees and break something. Then you have to make a splint. So now, about now, I've been in the game a little while, you have to check your status. And you do that by hitting your triangle. And then you can take R1, because I'm doing this on a console. You take R1 and you can run through your watch and see how your health is. Now mine looks pretty good, status effects. So if it's empty like that, it means that your status effect is very good. And this shows me that I am a little low on my health, but it's fair. My food, my water, and my SFP is very good. And to get out of this, you just hit circle. Now you can see the sun's going down. So we're going to have to get some sort of light. So it might be best to start a fire. And you need kindling to start a fire. So you pick up the kindling, you bring it over here to the fire, and it'll say campfire. Then you hit square, and you got to take your fingers and go between L1, L2 and R2, and you got to go it really, really fast. I found if you use your thumbs to do this, it's easier. Okay. Not kidding, that's not easy. Okay. Now we're going to need to get a stick to put on that fire because it's getting very low. So I'm going to take my axe. I'm going to run over here. You notice I have a raft too. That's a wonderful thing to have. And crates. If you collect things, you want to put them in the sand in a lot of ways because this is where you can see them. Like here, a compass, I have to be able to see it. If you put it in the grass, you'll lose it. And here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a trunk. So I'm going to chop up this trunk and make it into sticks. Now sticks are very valuable in this game. I'm going to come over and put these sticks in the fire because you've got to keep reloading your campfire. Now the campfire, and see that little line means that you're adding to it. That means you have a full campfire. I tend to like to hold my knife when I'm doing things. And you can switch between the different items very easily by hitting L1. You take L1 and you double click it. That's going to show your inventory in your backpack. And then you can click, toggle up, and then hit X. Hold the toggle up on the left toggle, and then hit X, and that is where you're going to have your item come in. But when you double click on the left toggle, you got to make sure that your inventory, as you scroll around it using your left toggle and go around, you got to make sure you've got one open, because if you don't have one open that you aren't using, then you're going to lose your stuff. It's going to drop. Let's see where the open is here. Okay. So now we need to put something on the fire. Okay. I usually put some meat and fish and different things on the ground here so we can cook them. But I haven't got anything at the moment. So we're going to run over, take our fishing spear, and we're going to see if we can find something to eat. And since it's night, you're not going to see a lot of food available. You can fish in the water. There's crabs that come on the shore. And the crabs do come out at night. I don't see any at the moment. Yeah, I'm not really seeing many crabs. Okay, so what we'll do is go up here. Since I haven't seen any crabs, I'm going to extinguish this fire. Be careful when you see that it says hold to extinguish, that you're not going to extinguish the fire when you want it to stay on, and say hold to light. It's on the same command. Okay? You don't want to waste your firewood on nothing. Okay, so now it's nice to do things at night. That's another important thing. If you want to do anything mundane, like you're getting your supplies for different things built up again, it is nice to do it at night. So I'm going to take my axe, and I'm going to chop for something called fibrous leaves, because the water maker uses fibrous leaves, and it can also use palm fronds. And the reason why I'm doing this at night is because it's going to save me from getting overheated. Now you can see those are bats flying around. Oh, there's a crab. Oh, he went that way. There's a crab. You want to catch those. So the fibrous leaves will grow on the outskirts of the rocks, the outskirts of the grasses, into the sand, like you see here. And you want to gather all those fibrous leaves, because these plants don't grow up into big palm trees like some people think. They just stay these little young palms. But these give you all your fibrous leaves. So now I have quite a few of these leaves. There's one other really good source. Here, I'm going to check something very important. You keep checking your statistics. Now see, my water is getting low. You don't want it to get much lower than that. Water is the most important thing on the island. in this game. So you want to go find your water maker. Actually, you have to make a water maker, but I've already made one in this game. And I can show you on the next one how to make this water maker. So that's how you get water. You go up here and you hit square and you take water to drink. Now every time you drink, it's a good idea, and I have a pile here of these fibrous leaves. You want to gather up some fibrous leaves. Very important. This is very important. You want to gather up the leaves. You want to go into L1 and hit X and select your fibrous leaves. You put them in your hand, and you want to go over here to the water maker and see it says hold to drink, but you don't want to do that. You want to point your cursor down. You want to point your cursor down to where it says water still, hold to add fiber, and then you hit square and it's going to add the leaves. You want to always keep this water maker full. That's really one of the most important points of Stranded Deep. And you can make as many water makers as you want. And see, I'm putting the leaves back down, and the ones also that I gathered from the island. So I have quite a big pile here, which is really good. Another great thing that these leaves are for, and I'll gather up. Now you can do this. You can pick up the leaves, or you can just point the cursor on top of the leaves, and you can go into the triangle. I'm sorry, you can hit R1 twice. When you hit R1 twice, you go down to lashing, and see it says X on craft. You can craft the leaves. Now it added a lashing, which looks like this. It's kind of dark, but that's a lashing. These are used to tie things together, and they're also pretty important in this game. So it's a little dark now, so what I'm going to do now is to save the game. It's very good in this game to save many times when you're playing, because you want to save often. You don't have to do it tremendously often, but if you do it often enough, you're not going to cause the game to freeze. You hit square and you hit the triangle. It's going to save your game. You see at the bottom right, game saved. And then you're going to hold the square and it says sleep. You're going to hit X to sleep. We're going to sleep the rest of the night and wake up in the morning. Now this is cool. And here again I'm going to select my knife just to have it in my hand. This is cool because it seems like you're at night, but it's going to start getting lighter. And if you look on your watch, which is in triangle, you're going to see up in the upper right hand corner that it says it's 5:26 in the morning. So you can tell what time of the day it is, or night. And it's good to keep tabs on that. So another real interesting point of the game, as far as the fibrous leaves, is you can take your axe and you can come over. There's these yucca plants. And these yuccas give you a lot of fibrous leaves. And these yucca plants do grow back, but it takes a few days. Now what was that, folks? I think we just got bit by a little crab, but that doesn't seem to bother us. It just kind of startles you. There are things on these islands that are very poisonous. One of the things that is very poisonous is snakes. But this little island that we're on now doesn't have any snakes. It doesn't have any boars. and it doesn't have any large crabs. Those are the three things on some of the islands you got to be very careful of, because they'll come after you if you're in the regular mode for wildlife. You can turn it off and play this game passive. In the beginning, when you get into the game, you can decide whether you want it passive or wildlife. And also in the wildlife, you could be bitten by a shark. And there are little creatures, which I haven't showed you yet, in the water that are purple, star-looking things. They look like starfish with about 12 arms. Stay away from those. Those are very poisonous, and you can walk over them very easily. So I got quite a few fibrous leaves from this yucca tree, and there it is. There's that little crab. Although they startle you, they don't really harm you that much. And those are the little crabs. Also, let's see, we've got these fibrous leaves that we're picking up. Now these will grow back, like I said, but it'll take a few days. And if you're not careful, you can strip the island and then you can't find any fibrous leaves at all for a few days. But if you don't cut these down, they won't grow back and give you more fibrous leaves. So it's good to cut them down. Okay. Like I said, here's a raft that I built. And you can build these rafts as long as you have a hammer and you have the amount of sticks and cloth and different things that it needs to make these rafts. They're really wonderful. They're a lot better than these little rubber thing that you got when you came into this game. My goodness. I know people who have played this game and had this rubber raft for a long time, and tell you one thing, it gets pretty hard to row this thing all the time in the water. You definitely want to work up till you get a raft. Now I'm walking mostly now, but you can push this up to run. That's if you double click R3, you can run. Anyway, this is the raft. Now this raft that you come in the game with does have a few nice things on it. If you hit L1, you're going to see the storage here, and it has a band-aid when you start out. It has rations that you can get and eat, and that helps when you need them. And it has an anchor, actually, a sea anchor. But I would try to not use this raft very long and work up to getting a raft. So now that it's daytime, we can go ahead and go fishing. So when I go fishing, it's a good idea not to have too much in your inventory, because you can actually drop things in the water and then you're going to lose them. So I'm going to drop a few things that I don't need. Okay, and I'm going to select my spear, or my fishing rod. This is actually a fishing. You know, you can go into your inventory in R1 and see that it has a crafting. I haven't gone over that. I'll go over that with you. It has a crafting menu. It has your stone tools, your kindling, your lashing, your refined knife, a torch, crude axe, crude hammer, your crude spear, fishing rod, fishing bobber, and your fishing spear, among other things. It's got cloth, an refined axe. Now a refined axe is different than a crude axe, and it holds up longer, but you're going to need leather to make this one, and the only way to get leather is to go to a Boar Island, and I'll show you what a Boar Island is. I'm pointing to it right now. That with the trees sticking up like that, real tall, that's a Boar Island. We call them a Boar Island because they have boars on them, and they have snakes, and they have large crabs, and you're going to have to fight with those and kill those things before you really get any peace on those islands to do other things. Now I can check my SPF. It's pretty good right now, although I'm going to need now a little water. So I'm going to run get some water. And then I'm going to check, see the water still has enough water in it, and I'm going to go fishing. One of the most wonderful things about Stranded Deep is the fact that you can get in the water and go snorkeling and fishing and swimming, which is wonderful. I really enjoy this part about the game, and it looks so real when you're underwater. This whole game looks so real. I think the clarity and the realness of this game just makes it so exceptional. The makers of this game did a superb, exceptional job in making this game look really, really real. So if you're somebody that likes realism, you'll really enjoy this game. Now, catching fish takes a little effort to learn how to do it. And you have to be careful of the sharks. And another thing is you have to be careful you don't drown yourself. There is a line at the bottom that shows the blue line. That's how much air you have left when you're underwater. And you got to always watch that and make sure that you're not going to drown. Now, one of the best fishes, I'll let you know, to catch are the archer fish. They're going to give you the most meat for a little tiny fish, because if you catch these little sardines and all this stuff, you only get these tiny little pieces of meat. But if you catch that archer fish, you're going to get a bigger meat. So I do look for the archers, which are right here. They're a little tricky to catch, but you can catch them. You got to keep getting air, watching out for those sharks. I'd stay close to the sand to stay away from the sharks. Now these stingrays won't hurt you. And you have to be careful of sea snakes. Snakes? Sea snakes. You just get used to diving in and out. And I'm looking for those archer fish. Here's one. There's a shark. Gotta be careful of him. See, now the music is telling you that a shark's coming too. It'll announce it. You stay up here in the shallow sand, he's not going to get you. But you got to be careful because they can nip you. And you can throw the spear at those sharks, or these not this fishing spear, but I would use a crude spear. You can throw them at the sharks. There, I caught an archer. Okay. If you hit R2, you can put it in your backpack and you can keep fishing. You gotta watch your air. Make sure you have enough. Once that goes down, you'll be drowned if you don't catch it. You want to get about 5 or 6 fish. That's enough. Okay. We got quite a bit of fish. Now we're going to go back up on shore, and like I said, I'm going to show you what you got to be careful of, not to run over or touch. And I will find one here so you can... This one's okay. That's not it. I'm just so amazed at the realism in this game. There it is, right there. Don't go near that. That will poison you. Very, very important. Don't touch them. Now there is a real trick that I learned about those starry crown things. I think they're called crown stars. There's a secret that I learned about this in this game, and I can show it to you. I have to find one that's not attached to a rock, because sometimes the rocks will inhibit it. Anyway, I can show you that in a little while. First, I want to go cook the fish. Okay, I want to check my stats here. Yep, I need a little water and a little food. So first I'm going to get some water. Okay. Then I'm going to put some fish down that I caught. Now there's another part of this game is that you can leave these fish, if they're uncut and uncooked, you can leave these fish on the ground as long as you want to. They're not going to go bad. But the minute you cut them, they're going to go bad if you don't cook them right away. Okay. Now the one thing that I need to order to do fish, you're going to always want to have your knife with you. You need a refined knife. And this is the only thing that you use in order to cut your fish. And your crab or anything to cut it, to eat it. Your boars to strip them of the leather, everything you're going to need this knife for. So I'd always have one of these refined knives with you. And I'm going to hold square and cut the fish. Like I said, this is the archer. So you're going to go in and grab your meat and put it up here on the smoker, and it says to attach it. And I'm going to go find one of these little sardines. And I'm going to gather that one. Now I want to show you the difference of the meat. You get the sardine. Look how little that is. It's much smaller. So see, that's the difference between the sardine and the archer. You're going to get a lot more meat on the archer. Now when you see the meat is really light red like that, that means it's raw meat. You don't want to eat it. You got to cook it. Now the nice thing about the smoker, unlike just the campfire or even the pit, it's a little pit that you can make before you make the smoker, and a lot of people like to use them to cook on, but the smoker is really the best thing because you can cook your meat and it'll show cooked meat, because right now it says medium. It means it's raw. Don't eat it or you get sick. But you wait till it's cooked or it's smoked, and when it's cooked you can eat it, but if you don't eat it, it can go bad. But if it's smoked, you can leave that meat anywhere and it'll always be ready to eat, even if you take it with you. And I'm getting a little low on food, so I'm just going to wait for that meat to cook. And I'm going to run over and get a little more water. And we're going on another day. You always want to maintain your stats. In the beginning it's very hard and difficult, but you'll get the knack for it to maintain your stats. So you won't be rushing around worried about not having any water or any food. And that sound means I got more water. And that sound actually means it goes ding, just like in a home. It means your meat's ready. the little ones. See, the bigger ones, this game is so real. If it's a small meat, it's going to cook faster. So it says cook small meat. So you hit square, and then you hit R2 and eat it. And your stats are going to go up. And you got to be aware that this has to have either palm fronds or sticks in it. And you can use fibrous leaves too. But you want to always have fuel in your fire. I would be careful not using too many sticks for the fire. Just use your palm fronds and your fibrous leaves, and you're going to save your wood on the island, because the wood can be used for making rafts and things like that, and you can make huts. So now what we're going to do is just wait for this meat to cook. And then we're going to go to sleep and start another day. You can find fruit on these trees to eat. You can look for those. And that'll give you some more sustenance. I heard the meat sticker clicker go off. And I have another piece of meat. I'm going to let this one smoke. Now, it's a real good idea to see how many shipwrecks you have around the island. You can go to the shipwrecks and get lanterns and lights and things on the shipwrecks, and it's very good to have a lantern, a light. You can make a torch, but that's going to use one of your cloths. And it's a good idea, if you don't have a loom, to save your cloths as much as you can, because you're going to need a cloth for the water maker and a cloth for the smoker. Now, one feature of this game I really like is that you can grow food. You can farm. So you can make these food plots out of either planks, corrugated metal, and you can make your food plots and you can grow food, which is great. So you can pick up your little yucca fruits, which are good to have, and plant them in your food plots and water them. And then you can grow yucca plants. You can grow different plants that you're going to need on the island. It's a good idea to just put your items and store items that you have in the sand. Because like I said, if you put them in the grass, you may lose them. The big items, not a big deal, but the little items you could lose. And I just put them all in one place and store them on the sand, and then you can have your storage and your different parts and things. These vehicle parts are really good because you can make motors, you can make airplanes, you can make a gyrocopter, you can make things with this. Actually, the gyrocopter is the only one you can really make with these parts. You can't really make a full-fledged airplane. But that's really going to come in handy. The gyrocopter is excellent. That's something you might do, but you have to level up quite different levels in order to be able to make these things. Okay, so we're going to save the game again. Now we're going to sleep. Okay, you want to look at your stats first thing in the morning. It's always going to have your water level down. It's because it figures you're going to dehydrate in the nighttime. So you're going to go to your water, and that's why it's good to always have water in here. And you're going to get your water back up again. And then you're going to take your fibrous leaves and you're going to put them on your water maker. You don't want the water maker to have no fibrous leaves in it or no palm fronds. It can take one or the other to fill it. Now, remember those purple things, those little starfish I told you about that are really poisonous? We're going to do something here to help you see them. If I can get my hammer, find a hammer here. I had a hammer. To find the hammer. So I'm going to go over here to my crates and see if it's there. These crates are extremely handy in this game. You can store things in them using L1. Go down to your backpack and hit X, and then it brings up what's in the crate. Actually, if you hit L1, it shows you what's in the crate. And right now there's nothing in the crate. See, there's some rations. You go up there, take the left toggle, and select the rations. You can take them out of the crate. I'm going to the third crate, and I see sticks here I'm going to take out. There's the hammers. And there's another item you really need on this island. Peppy plants. Peppy plants are going to give you antidotes to cure the poison. And they don't find them too often on the islands. It takes 2 peppy plants and a live, actually a raw coconut to make a consumable. And if you go up here into your inventory, and you can select over to consumables, this is where you're going to find things that you need on the island. You're going to need a coconut flask, and you're going to need 2 peppy plants in order to make an antidote. You can make a coconut flask, a salve for heat, a bandage, which comes in very handy if you die or you get bitten by a shark, or something to heal that. And then you can make water skins, a splint if you fell off of a palm tree and broke your leg. But here it is, the antidote. Now you can hit R3, it'll put it over on the left, and this is what you need. You need 2 peppy plants and a coconut flask to make an antidote. That will heal you from any kind of poison. Now I have a hammer. You build things with hammers. So what we're going to do is build something that goes around that little star. This is the trick that I wanted to show you about those little poisonous star fish out in the ocean. And find the sticks that I had. I had some sticks. Okay. I really actually thought I had some sticks over here. If I didn't use them. I guess I used them, folks. Well, we'll just get our axe. We'll come over here and cut another tree down. So when I originally came to this island, it had quite a few palm trees on it, but since then I have been using the resources. So we're going to cut this tree. eventually you can sail to any other island and you can start all over with your resources and make new shelters and new water makers and new smokers. Those are the three things that are most important to make on the island. Okay, we're going to get our hammer and we're going to find one of those starfishes. Some islands have a lot of those starfishes and some islands don't have that many. This one apparently doesn't have that many. But believe me, you really like it when they don't have many. So many people playing this game have run out into the water at the night time and different things and stepped right on one of those things and gotten poisoned. Here we go. Here's one. Okay, we don't want to get near it or step on it. But if you get up over here, this is a trick I wanted to show you. Go into the building and go down to wood wedge foundation. It takes 3 sticks, which I have. And when your item is ready to be made, it's going to show white. And it shows that I have it. Otherwise, it's going to be faded out. It means you don't have enough resources in your inventory. You're not standing over it, and it doesn't show it. But you want it to be white, and that means you have it. So it comes over here to the lineup, and it says craft. And if the X is there, it means you can craft it. So you're going to craft a wedgewood foundation. It's going to be red, which means you can't place it yet. You can move it with your toggle until you know exactly where you want it to be. And it's going to look very odd because it looks like this. You're right on top of it. When you want the 3 legs to be right over the inside of it. And you learn if you put it right there and you hit place, you're going to have that thing under that wedgewood foundation. And this is going to show you that, hey, I'm not going to walk there. I'm not going to run into it. You're fairly a lot safer. You're a lot safer, friends, for that not to be stepped on. You can also hit it with the hammer. You can leave it like this, or you can hit it with the hammer using your trigger. Your trigger is R2. I would call it your trigger finger, but it's R2. See, now your physical just went up, and you're going to go up in levels. So see? Now if you walk up to it like that, you could possibly get bit, but it pretty much keeps you from getting stung, by this thing. So that's just a little secret. Not a lot of people know that, but it's really good to know. Well, let's see how we're doing. See, we've gotten a little bit hot. We've gotten a little low on food and water. So I like to keep my hammer here on the sand so I don't lose it. It's not the most necessary item. And I'm going to get a little food and water. And I think that's going to wrap it up for our show tonight. Our broadcast. And here I have a piece of smoked meat, which I can eat. Okay, we're going to wrap it up, everyone. Thank you for watching tonight. I wanted to show you this wonderful game. I really like it. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I do it with my twin sister. But next time we'll have her over and we'll be able to do the game together with you. But I just wanted to show you a few of the really good tricks and ideas about this game to make it easier for you.